Hello aspirants, welcome to Rathod's IS Academy. Today in this lecture, we are going to see the current affairs of 3rd March 2022. In this lecture, we are going to see topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see the today's quote. Today's quote is, your dream doesn't have an expiration date. Expiration date. Take a deep breath and try again. So what are the dream you are having, either to clear UPSC or to settle in your life? So your dreams, they do not have expiration date. So if there is any challenges that will come in your preparation journey, so always there will be some ups and downs that will be seen, not only in your life but also everyone's life who are preparing for this UPSC. So at that time, try to take a deep breath and say all is well, everything is fine, and again start your preparation. So you have to motivate yourself because no one will going to motivate you in this long journey, right? So you have to remember that your dream doesn't have an expiration date. Now I have to again move forward with a new spirit. So now let us try to see first topic. It is regarding speedy trial. Especially we are going to talk about death sentence or capital punishment. So actually what happened in February, in I think third week of February, so there was a judgment regarding death sentences, especially for 38 persons, 38 people. So here death sentence which is mainly given regarding bomb blast of 2008. And here we need to talk about this death sentence or capital punishment. So this will be very much relevant now, and it is one of the debate topic that is going on in news channels. So now let us try to see this topic, and even in yesterday's lecture we studied one editorial regarding the speedy trial, right? Now let us try to see this topic, and here we are focusing on this death sentence. So if you see context, what is the context? In the last week, a little over 30 years after the blast in 2008. So blast held in 2008 in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. And what happened after 13 years? After 13 years, now a designated court mainly conducted a speedy trial, and finally it decided fate of 78 of accused people in this 2008 Ahmedabad blast. And this sessions court is also called as criminal court. So this sessions court, which mainly sessions court building, turned into a fortress of the day of the verdict. So on the day of this verdict, here this criminal court building, which mainly turned into fortress. So what happened, unlike the other days, people they are mainly coming to this court, and the people they are also gave permission to enter into this court premises. But on this verdict, there was silence and secrecy, which is mainly seen on this day, and even there is silence on the video conference link as well, right? So one thing which mainly asked for this convicted people at the last year is, and what is your whether you are feeling guilty or not. And when these convicted people, they mainly adjudicated guilty, and they were asked if they had anything to say. And in this on this context, or on this situation, especially these convicted people spoke with the fondness about their family members, and many recounted their clean jail records and even educational qualifications, and someone they pleaded innocence, and many broke down, and also they begged for mercy. So this was the event that mainly seen at this situation. And within a week, court sentences 38 out of this 49 people to death, and remaining people, they were mainly given like life imprisonment. So a special court on February 18th, 2002 awarded death sentence of 38 out of 49 convicts, and the rest of the people, they mainly given like life imprisonment for this 11 others who mainly involved in this 2008 Ahmedabad bank blast. That is, in 2008 Ahmedabad serial bomb blast case, about 49 people were convicted. Out of this, now 38 people they awarded with this death sentence, and remaining 11 persons they awarded with life imprisonment in this bomb blast case. And this is the highest number of convicts to be sentenced to death in a single case. So in a single case, till now, it is the highest number of convicts. Okay, convicts, they were sentenced to death in a single case. And the court also imposed a fine of about 2.85 lakh on each of these 48 convicts in 7,015 page long order. And the death sentence was awarded to 38 convicts under this IPC section 302, that is murder, and section 10 and 16 subclass 1 of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, that is UAPA. Under UAPA and under section 302, which mainly talks about murder in IPC. So according to these sections, here this death sentence which mainly awarded by the court. So here you have to revise what is this Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So already in number of instances we discussed this Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So now it is your turn to revise that Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And it also imposed fine of 25,000 was also imposed on each of 38 convicts for each of these 3 offences. So for these offences, so about 25,000 for each, that is overall like 2.85 lakh rupees they were also imposed as a fine. And now let us try to talk about this death penalty. So here we need to focus on this death penalty because there are higher chance of getting prelims questions regarding this death penalty and even mains question, because it is for the first time in this Indian history we saw like 38 members, they were mainly given this death sentence in a single case, right? So here there is a high chance of getting questions regarding this death penalty. So this death penalty is also called as capital punishment. So don't confuse with this capital punishment and death penalty. So it is same. So death penalty or capital punishment, it is the execution of an offender. He is mainly sentenced to death after conviction by a court of law of a criminal offense. If any person who is conducting any criminal offense, then that person will be sentenced to death. It is called as a death sentence or capital punishment. And if you are talking about hierarchy of punishments, so we are having the highest penalty. Highest penalty will be the death sentence, and it will be given in extreme severe cases. For example, murder, rapes, treason, etc. So in this case only, so this in this criminal cases like death, that is murder, rapes and as well as treasons, so there will be the capital punishment that will be awarded. And even there is one famous case that mainly says that this death penalty that should be given in a rarest of rarer cases. So which is that case? Let me know in comment box, because this type of cases also will become handy when you are writing your mains answer. So already I discussed about that case. So let me know the name of that case. In this case, Supreme Court said that so this death penalty or capital punishment should be given in a rarest of the rarer cases. And the death penalty, it is seen as the most suitable punishment and effective deterrent of worst crimes. So whenever the crime is severe means, so here we can go for this death penalty. And the people who oppose it, however, see it as inhumane. So many people, they say that this death penalty is inhumane. Thus, the morality of death penalty, it is debatable. So now there are many debates which are mainly going on in TV channels regarding whether this capital punishment, it is moral or not. Okay, so this is about some introduction. And now let us try to see what is the arguments which mainly favors this death penalty or capital punishment. So first one, we can talk about retribution. So what is this retribution? So one of the key principles of retribution is the person who is doing crime, so he need to be punished. So whenever the crime which is very severe means, we need to give the severe punishment. So this is about retribution. And next one is deterrence. So capital punishment is often justified with the argument that by executing convicted murderers will deter would be the murderers from killing people. So whenever any person who is committing a murder, okay, and if the judiciary which is not punish this person, means what happen, other people will also do the same murder. So because of this, that will leads to inconvenience for the people and even breakdown of law and order in the society. So because of this, here we need, when we want to deter, that is to prevent other people doing the same crime, so we need to give death penalty. Okay, so these are some arguments which are mainly favoring this capital punishment. And if you're talking about arguments which are against this capital punishment is, first one is deterrence is ineffective. So there is our example, right? For example, in 2012 Nirbhaya rape case that happened in Delhi. So there are 4 people who are convicted in that case and they got the capital punishment. But if you see, because of this capital punishment which is given, so there are nothing like decreasing of incidents of rape that is happening in the country. So this is the argument which is says here. That is, whatever the deterrence, we are saying that deterrence is ineffective because there is a statistical evidence that mainly says that this deterrence does not works. Okay, so even though when we are giving capital punishment for the person who is doing severe crime also, so there is nothing like we cannot see that type of incidents that are going on. Yes, that type of incidents are going on. We can see the murder which is happening, and we can see the number of crimes against women, and we can see the number of crimes like rape that is happening and going on. So here deterrence is ineffective. So this is the first argument which is against. And next one is execution of innocent. So in the most of the cases, the common argument it mainly says that here whenever we are going for this capital punishment, that is sooner or later, so innocent people they get killed because of mistakes or flaws in the justice system. So because of some mistakes and as well as flaws that can be seen in this justice system, so because of this even innocent people they are losing their life. And next one is no rehabilitation. So whenever this capital punishment is given, it does not rehabilitate the prisoner because that prisoner he is not going to return to the society. So these are some arguments which are against this capital punishment. So let me know your opinion regarding this capital punishment in comment box. So you have to come up with your own perspective, right? So please let me know your opinion regarding this capital punishment or death penalty in comment box. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding lines and roles. Actually this topic which mainly talks about roles and functions of governor. So if you want to know some introduction or some case studies, you can talk about the tussle between governor and chief minister in Tamil Nadu, governor and chief minister in Kerala, and even governor and chief minister in Telangana. So in Telangana state, I think from 3 days onwards there is one issue which is mainly going on. So in this budget session there is no governor's address. So what happens? So if you are talking about constitutional provisions, you have to remember 2 things. In these 2 things the governor address is compulsory. So after once this legislative assembly election is completed, so for the first sitting of house there will be the governor address will be there. So this is the first instance. And second instance here is every year the budget session is the first session of that year, and this budget session will be started with this governor address. So here this budget session is mainly going to be start in this Telangana state, but they said that they are not going to have this governor's address. So in this context here this government of Telangana says that we didn't prorogue the session. Whenever there is no prorogation of session, how can we go for governor's address? So this is the one important issue that is going on regarding tussle between the state governments and as well as governors. So now if you're talking about governor it is an important post in the state, and we can say this governor post is also called as gubernatorial post. You have to make a keyword, that is this governor post is called as a gubernatorial post. So here governor has some important roles and functions, roles and responsibilities in the state. So first you have to know what are the roles and functions of the governors in the state, and you have to know about what are the issues that are going on between this state and as well as this governor, and you have to know what is a way forward. So in this way we can cover this topic in all dimensions. So now let us try to see this role of governor in the state. So what happened? So there is some confrontations, or we can say like tussle which is happening between the state governments and as well as the governor. And this is the situation not only seen in one state, but number of states are facing this issue between the governor and as well as state. And even in Delhi we can say there is issue between the chief minister and as well as lieutenant governor. Okay, lieutenant governor in Delhi as well. So in Delhi as well we are seeing this issue, and even in Telangana state, Tamil Nadu state, Kerala state, there are a number of examples we can quote, even in Rajasthan as well. So we're talking about governor he is the constitutional head of the state, and he is the chief executive and head of the state, and his powers are enshrined in the part 4 of our part 6 of our Indian Constitution. So part 4, which mainly talks about directive principles of state policy, and part 6, which mainly talks about some articles in this part 6 which mainly talks about the powers of governor in our Indian Constitution. Already you know that the post of this governor, it is a gubernatorial post, and governor who mainly act as an agent of central government. Okay, so governor mainly acts as an agent of central government. Therefore, here office of governor will be having a dual role. Okay, and he will be the important part of the state executive as well. So if you are focusing on the what are the roles and responsibilities of this governor, so governor mainly possesses executive, legislative, financial and also judicial powers, and we can say the powers of governor will be more or less which is equal to that of powers of President of India. But in some cases we can see there will be no diplomatic, no military or no emergency power like compared to that of President. So if we are talking about some important roles and responsibilities, he serves as a chief executive officer, and he mainly oversees the functions of executive branch of the government, and he mainly appoints the leader of majority party as chief minister, and he also appoints advocate general, chairman and members of our respective state public service commissions, etc. And even he is a person who mainly appoints the district judges, and he mainly come up with a report for the imposition of this constitutional emergency. So it is also called as President's Rule under Article 356 of Indian Constitution, right? And he also review and signs the bill which is mainly approved by Vidhan Sabha and as well as Vidhan Parishad. And for the passing or for the introduction of this money bill, the prior permission of this governor is necessary. And he also has some judicial powers, for example pardon, remit, commute, etc. Okay, so these are some important roles and responsibilities of this governor. So we can compare these roles and responsibilities of governor with the president, but there will be small minor changes that you have to remember. And if you are talking about what are the issues now we are seeing, the first one is there is abuse of power by the center, because here what happened, governor will be the center representative in the state, and by using the post of the governor, center wants to control the state, right? So because of this, if you see, we are having a unitary tilt, right? So because of this, we are not saying it is a completely federal, but we are having a quasi-federal. Okay, quasi-federal. If you are talking about the first one, that is abuse of power by the center, so there are numerous examples where governor's position being abused. Usually if the ruling party, okay, if the ruling party at the center, and if you are seeing the state government which is opposition party or another party which is different compared to that of ruling party at the center, so there what happened, we can see center which is mainly abusing the power. And next one is biased ideology. So in several cases, politicians, former bureaucrats, they are identifying with a particular political ideology, and they have been appointed as a governors by the central government. So based on this ideology also, central government going for this appointment of these governors, and this mainly goes against constitutionally mandated neutral seat, and that has resulted in bias and appears to happen in this Karnataka and Goa. So recently in 2020 and 2019 time, so this is a thing which mainly seen in this Karnataka and as well as Goa. And if you're talking about these governors, they are also having a name like they are puppet rulers. Okay, so recently in Rajasthan, okay, the governor of Rajasthan has been charged with the violation of model code of conduct, right? He supports the ruling party which is against the spirit of non-partisanship. So in this way, here governors are also having a name like they are puppet rulers, and sometimes governors, they are mainly favoring the particular political party, because here governors, they are having some discretionary powers, right? So if there is no proper majority is happening, then he can invite a leader of the largest party or alliance, okay, after these elections to form the government. So in this way, here governors also have some discretionary power such that they can misuse the power, they can favor a particular political party to form the government in the state. And next one is, we can also see there is misuse of power. So Governors Committee 1971, which mainly laid down the responsibility on the governor to see that the administration of state does not break down due to political instability, and he must send a regular report about the political situation in the state. So what happened? So in 1971, Governors Committee also laid down the what are the responsibilities of the governor. Okay, so what are the important roles and responsibilities of the governor? That he or she must be following in the administration of the state. Okay, so that should not lead to political instability, and in this context they need to send a regular report about the how the political situation that is going on in the state. So this is according to this Governors Committee. And if you're talking about what is a way forward, so if you're talking about this governor, it is a constitutional post, and he or she will be the constitutional head of the state. So for the proper smooth functioning of democratic government, so we need to focus on the government should also act judicially, and he should act impartially, and he should exercise his roles and responsibilities effectively. So this is the first way forward. And we also need a proper checks and balances to streamline the function of this governor. And as per the recommendations of the Sarkaria Commission, this Punchi Commission, so we need to go for some important recommendations which are given by this. We need to follow those recommendations which are given by the Sarkaria and as well as Punchi Commission. So they mainly say that the procedure for appointment of these governors should be clearly laid down, and the condition for appointment must be laid down, and we need to assure that there is a fixed tenure for the governor, so that governor will not come under the control or threat of removal by the central government. So these are the important recommendations which are given by the Sarkaria and as well as Punchi Commission. And also this if you are talking about one more important way forward, it mainly says that it is very much necessary to invest in the office of the governor with the requisite independence of action, and to rid them from the bane of instructions from the central government. Okay, so we need to invest in this office of governor, and we need to give some independence for this post, that is a governor post, such that he should not come under the influence of this central government. So this is the gist of this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding food share. So actually this article which is mainly talking about COVID-19 impact on the food share and nutrition of the people. Especially this article which is mainly talking about what is the situation of lower caste people and as well as minorities during this COVID-19 pandemic. And this is according to CMIA report. Okay, it is according to CMI, that is Consumer Pyramids Household Survey, which mainly held between January 2019 till August 2020. So we are going to talk about that report. So this report mainly says that how this food share had been different, okay, had been transformed due to this COVID-19 pandemic, and especially it is focusing on lower caste people and as well as minorities. So this article, it is very important from our society point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 2 and as well as GS paper 1. And this topic, it is exclusively important from your mains, not from prelims. So if you're talking about context, so we are mainly seeing the details or the highlights of this CMIE report, that is Consumer Pyramids House Survey, that mainly held between January 2019 to August 2021. So if you're talking about this report, which mainly says that it is not just a food expenditure, that mainly differing, but even diet of the people had been changing because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And as you all know, we are having caste based hierarchy. So if we're talking about Varna system, at the top we are having Brahmins, below that we have Kshatriyas, right? So Brahmins, Kshatriyas will be there, and finally we are having Sudras and untouchables. They were mainly present at the bottom. And if you're talking about this Chaturvarna system, we have Brahmins, we have Kshatriyas, we have Vaishyas, we have Sudras, and these untouchables, they are mainly present or kept out of this Chaturvarna system. So here what happened? Actually, you know that from ancient times onwards, this caste system which is very much predominant in India. And even if you're talking about our modern history, so we discussed like many movements that have happened against this caste system at that time. And there were many social reformers as well. But till in this COVID-19 time also, we are saying there is a caste-based hierarchy that is still deep-seated in India. So here, in this caste-based hierarchy, the Brahmins, and as well as other upper caste people, they are placed at the top, and scheduled caste and as well as scheduled tribes, they are mainly placed at the bottom. And traditionally, if you are talking about Brahmins, they are vegetarians, and while the scheduled caste and as well as the scheduled tribes, they are not vegetarians, they will be non-vegetarians normally. So Hindus in India, they are better off than Muslims on average. So while the Hindus are vegetarians, many of them, they will also consume meat, okay, exception of beef. But on Muslim side, they are mostly non-vegetarians, and they are allowed to eat all kinds of meat, but they will not take or consume this pork. So if you're talking about rise in food shares, so because of the shock of pandemic, it mainly led to breakdown of food supply chains, and because of no proper livelihood, because of no income, because of no money in the hands, there is also fall in the demand of this food and food related items in the market, and it is one of the important consequences because of loss of income. So if there is no proper income, means how people go to markets and they can get their food items, right? So but here at subsistence food requirements had to be met. Till now there is no proper meeting of food requirements that is seen, and in this misery times, food prices are also increased because of hoarding, and because of hoarding that mainly done by these food sellers and panic buying by the customers, etc. And even because of increasing of oil prices, that also seen like there is inflation in the food prices. And even till last 6 months, we already saw that tomato price had been increased to 120 rupees, and even onions price, and we can talk about oil prices, that is edible oil prices. So here what happened due to this lockdowns, which mainly resulted in the sharp increase in the food share across rural and as well as urban area, okay. And we can also see this changing of this food share in the different caste people and as well as different religions people at different rates. So if you see the data that is given in this article, which mainly says that among the scheduled caste households in the rural areas, food share that mainly ranged from 46% to 54% before this 2020 March, and it mainly surged about 64% in April 2020. And next one is similar trends are also seen in the scheduled tribes and as well as backward classes and even other caste people. So once these restrictions were lifted, that is once this COVID-19 restrictions were lifted, there was a sharp decline in the food share across all the groups. And while this decline continued in August 2021, food shares, they were still higher than this pre-pandemic levels. And if you're talking about these different religious groups, they also experienced a sharp rise in the share of food expenditure that is seen in both rural and as well as urban areas. So in this both rural and urban areas, so people mainly experienced some decreasing of food expenditure. Okay, so this is about the data. There is no need of remembering of this data. Okay, so because of this onset of this pandemic, urban areas, they were hit very much harder than compared to the of rural areas in the initial stages. So in the initial stages, we saw this COVID-19 pandemic that mainly spread in the urban areas, and the later in the second wave and third wave, we saw there is rise of these cases in this rural areas, right? So because of this, whenever the onset of pandemic happened, urban areas, they were hit the most than compared to that of these rural areas. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said. And even there is increasing of a higher food share. So it is also because of three important reasons. The first one here is we are mainly going for taking of inferior cereals and also substituted for expensive cereals. So we can't, whenever there is no proper income, so they are mainly substituting their expensive cereals with this inferior cereals, and there is also lower amounts that are mainly spent on more nourishing foods like fruits and as well as vegetables. So on spending on these fruits and vegetables also had been decreased, and other essential non-food items such as education, health, so these areas are also neglected in this time. Okay, and if you're talking about our budget, so in this year budget we also studied that, so food subsidy cost also been decreased, right? So here in this budget 2022 to 23, so it is a mixed bag as it seeks to promote growth through investments, but it mainly neglects the deficiency of aggregate demand and even the nutrition deficiencies which are mainly faced by these deprived people. So here in this budget, we can see there is a lack of sensitivity of plight of disadvantaged and misguided growth strategy. So we need to have a proper scrutiny regarding this nutritional security. So this is about this topic. Now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding one important report by Pew Center. It is mainly talking about gender-based roles. So 9 in 10 Indians think wife must always obey husband. So recent study by this Pew Center report, which mainly says that 9 out of 10 Indians, they think that wives must always obey husband. So let me know your personal opinion in comment box regarding whether the statement is right or wrong in this 21st century. So now let us try to see the context. So while Indians accept women as political leaders, they mostly favor traditional gender roles in family life. So in family life, they mainly favors traditional gender roles, says the report. Okay, this report released by Pew Research Center. It is a Washington-based NGO, that is non-profit organization. So here, the first statement says that while Indians accept women as political leaders. For example, if any woman who elected as a sarpanch, so whether she can do her work independently? No. There will be the post called as Sarpanch Pati also. So Sarpanch Pati will take care of the works that should be done by Sarpanch. Right? So let me know your personal opinion regarding the Sarpanch Patis and as well as women as political leaders. Whether families are really supporting women to be as a political leaders or not. So if Indians they are accepting women as political leaders, one question for me is why till now 33% of reservation for women in parliament had not yet been passed? Right? So this is the one important question I want to pose, and let me know your opinion regarding this topic as well. So this is a very sensitive topic, okay, and this type of topics will be very useful for your interviews, okay. So interviewers mainly going to check about mental stability, and they will be asking this type of sensitive issues. So when you're answering these type of questions, so please be careful, okay. So if you're talking about details regarding this topic, which mainly says that study title, how Indians view these gender roles in families and society, and this report released on March 2nd, and it is mainly based on the survey of about approximately 30,000 Indian adults. They are mainly conducted between this November 2019 to March 2020. And if you're talking about some highlights of this report, about 55% of Indians, they believe that men and women make equally good political leaders. But 9 out of 10 Indians, they agree or they are having a notion that wife must always obey her husband. Okay, so 9 out of 10 Indians, they agree that there is a notion that wife must always obey her husband. We can see here patriarchy that is clearly visible here. And although most Indians expressed egalitarian views on gender roles, with 62% they are saying that both women and as well as men should be responsible for child care. So if mother and as well as father who was working professionals, then they will be having the equal role for the taking care of their child. But if you see the traditional, okay, some areas we can see traditional swing which is mainly happening, and 34% of the people they convinced that child care should be the responsibility or the primary role that should be done by women. And similarly, if you're talking about 54% majority says that both men and women should be responsible for earning money. As many as 43% believe that earning of money is the main obligation of men, not the women. And also 80% of Indians, they agreed that they are having idea that when there are few jobs, men should have to get more rights in the job than compared to women. Women are not much compatible, right? So here this is the thing which mainly said by 80% of respondents. And while Indians valued both sons and daughters, nearly 94% said that it is very important for the family to have at least one. So here we can see son meta preference. So it is a one important topic even in your society as well. And about 64% of Indians also said that sons and daughters, they should have equal rights of inheritance. And there is a famous Supreme Court judgment that is mainly held, I think 2 to 3 months ago, regarding this inheritance of property rights to this daughter as well. And the report said that nothing that prevalent the gender norms are the part of wider phenomenon in the Indian society, where for a variety of historical, social, religious, economic reasons, even families they tend to place higher value on sons rather than daughters. So if any family who is having a son and as well as daughters, so personally I saw many case studies or many people who are living around us. So they are giving priority for the sons, not for the daughters. They are sending their sons for the private schools and they are not allowing their daughters to go to even schools. And some people they are sending their daughters to the government schools, but they are sending their sons to international schools and as well as good private schools, but they are not allowing, but they are not sending their daughters. They are saying that, so why you are not sending your daughter to the same school where you are sending your son? So this was my question and they are answering that. So if you are investing much on daughter, they will be going to other houses, they will be not going to serve their parents. Okay, so this is the one notion that is mainly present in this society. Even now it is very much prevalent. So here we need to bring some attitudinal change in the parents, and we have to see the sons and the daughters, they should be the equal, because they are having the equal right. Okay, the fundamental rights are equal for the son and as well as daughters. So in this way, whenever we are giving much preference for the son, the fundamental rights of these daughters will be violated. Right? And not only that, even sex selective abortions are mainly going on in India as well. So why? Whenever they come to know that the fetus is female fetus, they are going for abortion. So this is called as sex selective abortions. Okay, in this way we can see like they are giving much priority for the son rather than the daughters. So however, 42% they found this practice is completely unacceptable. So about 40% of people they are going for this sex selective abortions, and about 42% they are mainly completely and accepting these practices. Okay, so this is about this topic and let me know your opinion. And now let's try to see next topic. It is regarding India is natural leader of Quad in Indo-Pacific region. So this topic it is very much important from your international relations, which mainly comes under your GS paper 2. So here we need to focus on this Milan exercise. So if you see context, it mainly says that India is clearly a natural leader in the region, that is in Indo-Pacific region. In terms of vision, the Quad signs up to this Indo-Pacific region. So this is the one important statement which is given by Australian High Commissioner. He mainly said that in Indo-Pacific region, India plays an important role. Okay. And in this recent multinational defense exercise, that is Milan, which is going on in this Visakhapatnam, so which mainly talks about or which mainly showcases the coordination and cooperation in this Indo-Pacific region. So these are some statements which are mainly given by this Australian High Commissioner to India. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that the exercise Milan, so in the exercise Milan, where 14 countries including Australia mainly took part in this Milan exercises. So this Milan exercise which mainly demonstrate cooperation across the country in this Indo-Pacific region, and they are mainly focusing on free, open and as well as prosperous Indo-Pacific region. So in the terms of vision of this Quad, which mainly seen clearly in this exercise. So this is the thing which mainly said by this Australian High Commissioner. And there are 4 bright spots in the relationship between the India and Australia. So we are having good defense cooperation, we are having good economic issues, okay, we are having good education and as well as tourism. In these sectors we had a good relationship with Australia. So if we are talking about some facts regarding this Milan, it is a biennial multilateral naval exercise, that is it will be held once in every 2 years, right? So it mainly started in year 1995 Andaman and Nicobar Command, and starting with the participation of only 4 countries at that time, and now in this exercise there are many countries which mainly participated. There are about 14 countries which mainly participated in this Milan's exercise. Okay, and actually this is very important for developing of good relationship with our eastern countries. Like we are mainly focusing on this look east policy of India, and Milan expanded ensuring these years with India's Act East policy, and even we are also having Sagar initiative which is mainly focusing on security and growth for all in this Indian Ocean region, and we are also having IOR, that is Indian Ocean regions littorals. Okay, so in this way here we are mainly focusing on ensuring of free and fair trade in this Indo-Pacific region, and even phosphorus Indo-Pacific region. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to say next topic. It is regarding trade deficit. So already we saw what is a trade deficit. Whenever imports are more compared to that of exports, so this condition is called as trade deficit. So trade surplus means exports are more compared to that of imports. It is called as trade surplus. So now let us try to see this topic. So this is important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that India's merchandise exports rose 22.3% to 33.81 billion in February. So the merchandise exports rose. Okay, that is about 22%. And if you see on the other hand, imports which mainly increased by 35%. So because of this, imports are more compared to that of exports. So we are seeing there is a trade deficit, right? So some details which are mainly says here, like trade deficit which shrank to about $17 billion in January, which had earlier hit a record of $22.9 in November 2021 and has averaged like $21.7 billion between September and December. Okay, so your trade deficit which mainly shrank about $17 billion in January, and now in this February, so we are having a good trade deficit, that is this trade deficit which has been doubled, right? And if you are talking about what are the reasons, there is increasing of fertilizer import. So if you go back to our budget, we are mainly said that we are going to decrease this fertilizer bill. Okay, but here we are evidencing there is increasing of fertilizer import, and even there is increasing of coal imports and gold imports. So because of this, we are having this high amount of this import bill that led to increase the trade deficit. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see yesterday's questions. So first one is, consider the following statements regarding nano pollution. So I think you might have studied about this nanotechnology in your science and technology, right? And the first statement here is, living organisms may not have appropriate means to deal with this nano waste or nanoparticles, but yes, we have proper mechanisms. And this one is, due to their size, due to their very small size, they can penetrate into animal cells but not plant cells. Why? They can even penetrate into this plant cells as well. So this statement, okay, this statement it is wrong. And next one is, nanoparticles, they do not have any impact on human immune system. So whenever any particle is entering into our body, so it will be like antigen. So whenever antigens are entering into our body, antibodies will be automatically generated. So it will be having some impact on our human immune system. So which of the statements are correct? These three statements are incorrect. Okay, so correct statement will be 4, none. And next question is regarding nutritional security. Do you think would help in securing nutritional security for impoverished masses of India? So how can we go? The first one is by emphasizing biofortification. Yes, through this biofortification, whenever we are mixing this vitamin A, iron and as well as iodine in the common salt, that will be helpful for nutrition security. And we can include coarse grains in this PDS system. Yes, these coarse grains, they are having high nutritional value, and even that will be helpful to counter this hidden hunger, that is micronutrient deficiency. Yes, this statement is correct. And by creating enabling environment for cooperative type of functioning. Yes, of course. And next one is increasing cultivation over rice and wheat. Already if you are talking about cultivation cover of rice and wheat, it is very much high. So it will be not much helpful. And next one is by increasing processing capacities in India. Yes, by increasing of food processing, so we can add some important nutrients, etc. And we can also decrease the waste, and such that we can ensure the nutrition security. So correct answer will be 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 5 are correct statements. And these are today's questions. The first one is regarding environmental protection. It is mainly seen in which part of Indian Constitution? And next one is Kyoto Protocol. So try to see these two questions and try to give your answer in the comment box. Don't forget about this. So by concluding, okay, so I want to make a small statement before concluding this lecture. So please try to join this mains answer writing practice course. Already this course started from March 1st. So this will be very useful course because we are giving you 1 year detailed plan for your GS, GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. There will be also essay writing practice along with case studies on Sunday. So we will be giving you weekly targets. So this weekly targets will be helpful to cover both your prelims and as well as mains. Okay, so because your preparation should be integrated, that is plus mains and as well as prelims, it should not be isolated. You should not prepare separately for prelims and as well as separately for mains. So this is the one blunder mistake that will be done by many of your aspirants. So that should not be done. So in this weekly targets, if you are completing those targets, that will be helpful for both your prelims and as well as mains. And based on these targets, daily one question will be given to you. You are supposed to write answer for that question and you have to send to our email, so that there will be evaluation will be there. And we also provide you the model answer, and even we will be providing you one-to-one mentorship. So in this way, this course it is exclusively beneficial. It is very helpful, mainly to clear your mains, because mains will be the deciding factor whether you are making or breaking the deal, right? So because in this 3 hours of time, you have to write at least 20 questions. You have to attend all the questions. So to answer those questions, you need to have some techniques. So that techniques you are going to learn in this mains answer writing practice. So please try to join this course. This will be exclusively beneficial. And if you want to talk to me regarding this course, you can call to this number 8074765513. So apart from that, we are also launching pen drive courses. So in this pen drive course, you are going to get entire foundational course, and even if you want a single course also or individual subject, so you can take that pen drive course. So if you have any queries, so please contact me on this number. So by this, I am concluding. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.